Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the DC Capstone Report. It is great to have everyone back listening this week for our podcast on another unique perspective of Alabama football, coming off a great victory over Alabama and La Monroe, 73-0. Before we get started about the game, I want to thank Lance Shores in the studio making all of this possible. Couldn't do this without Lance. He does such a great job producing this podcast each and every week. And Lance and I want to thank all of our listeners out there and followers. If you listen to this podcast, we certainly appreciate you tuning in to hear what we have to say about Alabama football. And I want to thank Lance's sites that sponsor our podcast each week, freelancepictures.com and rolltidebama.com. Lance was at the game this past Saturday, and he has some great pictures and videos on his websites from the game. From the Elephant Stop prior to the game with the $1 Million Band and cheerleaders right there on at the quad, and all the way following them to Bryant-Denny Stadium in the game and during the game. There are so many wonderful videos and wonderful pictures that you can take part of by looking at rolltidebama.com and checking out freelancepictures.com. So thank Lance for all he does for us. And also our other sponsor, Karen Cottingham, realtor right here at the Keller Williams Group at Keller Williams. Karen has been sponsoring our podcast now for our second year. Just want to thank her for all your real estate needs. You can reach out to Karen at 205-887-4008. If you have a student looking for housing, or if you want a game day condo or house, she's the person to contact. If you want to buy or sell anything in the West Alabama or Alabama area, contact Karen Cottingham, a realtor right here in Tuscaloosa with the Williams Group at Keller Williams at 205-887-4008. Well, today on the podcast, in our first segment, we're going to take a look and review the University of Louisiana Monroe game. In our second segment, we're going to take a look at our players of the game who stood out to us on offense and defense. In our third and final segment, we're going to look ahead and preview the upcoming game against the Wisconsin Badgers. Well, welcome back to the DC Capstone Report. It's good to have everybody here again this morning, and Lance and I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're a follower, you're listening each and every week, please share this podcast to all your friends. You can check us out at dccapstonereport.com on our Facebook page at DC Capstone Report Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify. So like, share, whatever you can do to help us get the word out about our podcast. Well, in our first segment today, we're going to review the game against Louisiana Monroe and what a game it was. Alabama came out hitting on all cylinders, and I think it was just what the doctor ordered, just what we needed to flush that loss against Florida State. 73-0, Alabama takes and beats the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Pretty much a well-rounded, perfect game almost on all sides of the ball. But I think it all started this week on the plane ride back to Tuscaloosa after that the debilitating loss against Florida State. It looks like to me that the team came back on Sunday morning, had a team-only meeting from what I've heard. A lot of the players stood up, took ownership. They couldn't believe how they played. They couldn't believe how lack of effort they had. They were shocked at what took place. And then Coach DeBoer himself made an unexpected appearance in the players-only meeting and came in and had a few words to say himself. But it looks like they flushed it all, had a great week of practice, and came out with much better intensity in this game. First of all, on defense, I think the game was great. It was intensity was good. The passion was good. They were flying around, running to the ball. You really saw what a swarm defense did by swarming to the ball. They did a great job individually. It looked like some freshmen got to play, start even on the defensive line because of all the injuries. I understood Simmons was a freshman that played. He was really good, number 90. Stepped up to the plate when his name was called and did well. Some other veterans like James Smith and others stepped up as well. So I think the defense did well. I think they held the Warhawks to 148 yards total, held them to 55 yards passing and 93 yards rushing. That's 3 yards per play average. They caused 3 takeaways. There was 2 fumbles and an interception. They were 6 of 14 on third down, so we got off the field on third downs and made them punt the ball. So that's a great recipe anyway of any game against defense. And I know you're saying, hey, it's a Louisiana Monroe. It was, but in fact, when you shut out any team in college football today, you've done a good job. holding a team to a shutout. And so I think Alabama did well on defense. It's good to get that win under your belt now at Bryant-Denny, even if it was against a lesser opponent. If they can maintain and keep that same intensity and come out in our next game on Saturday with that same intensity, it'll bode well for this Alabama team going forward defensively. I think on offense, what can you say? You have 73 points. Anytime you can score 73 points, I don't care who the opponent is, you know you're doing well on offense. And you don't have to look any further than starting with Ty Simpson at quarterback. Ty Simpson was 17 of 17 when he threw the ball. He did exceptionally well of getting us in the right position to make the plays, running the ball, passing the ball, hitting the open receivers. Didn't have an interception. He was perfect in this game. Other quarterbacks like Austin Mack and Keelan Russell got to play and all had multiple touchdown passes as well. Just felt like the offense came out with something to prove, and that's why they did so well in this game. We had 583 total yards. I have to give Ryan Grubb credit. I thought he called a good game, put us in position to make plays. I don't think we had a single punt in the game. We had 29 first downs. We were 9 of 12 on third down efficiency and 2 for 2 on fourth down. We ran a total of 69 plays with no punts. We averaged 8.4 yards per play. That's 212 yards rushing and 371 yards passing with multiple quarterbacks throwing touchdown passes in this game. So the offense was clicking on all cylinders. Yes, it was against Louisiana Monroe's defense, but I believe this is what they needed in order to get themselves ready for the upcoming games, and was just really proud of how the offense had played by not making mistakes, by taking what the other team gave them, by running the ball and doing well. So it looks like to me we have a committee of running backs that did well in this game. So I think that going in the future, we're going to have an opportunity hopefully to get Jamarian Miller back. And when he comes back, we'll have a lot of experience in the running back room. And to gain that many yards rushing, I think was a tremendous way showing how our offensive line and our running backs were able to play in this game. And speaking of offensive line, there was a shakeup there. We had some different people playing in different positions, and I think that's really good. I saw a lot of good things out of the freshman Carroll at right tackle. So, you know, there's a lot of kids on this team that's had an opportunity to play themselves into some playing time. You know, Loesher Brooks is a guy that just jumps off the page at you on offense, and just to hear the people talk about him, he's a freshman. I've heard things all summer about how good he's been doing in practices, but to see it develop in a game. He took advantage of Ryan Williams being out. And I'll tell everybody, even though Ryan Williams is a great superstar, it is going to be hard to keep Loesher Brooks off the field. He's got explosive, got great hands, got great route running ability, and he can even block. So look for Loesher Brooks to get some playing time as a freshman down the road, even when Ryan Williams is healthy and comes back. But overall, the review of the game, the offense and defense did a good job, superb job, and I think it sets us up well as we get ready for the rest of our season this year. Well, welcome back to the second segment on the DC Capstone Report. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. On the second segment, we're going to take a look at our players of the game against Louisiana Monroe. Well, on offense, I'm going to pick the running back who got the start, Kevin Riley. He had 11 carries for 69 yards. He ran very tough, ran very good between the tackles. He showed some speed on the outside, put his head in there and made some really good plays. I made him my offensive player of the game, not only because of his game production, but also off the field. He really has worked hard to get the starting job in this. You know, you got Jam Miller goes out, Richard Young got the start. We had Daniel Hill play in the game against Florida State. We had Jalen Washington play, but Kevin Riley, when he got his opportunity, he came in and looked like he wanted to play. And he ran with intensity and ran with passion. And I think that's what earned him the starting role when he came out against Louisiana Monroe. And he took advantage of it. 11 carries, 69 yards, and 6.3 yard average. And I think all the backs that played had some good plays. But Kevin Riley was my offensive player of the game. And on defense, one person stood out. If you check, and there was a lot of players that played that had opportunities, so there wasn't many tackles per person because so many people made tackles. But if you watch the game, there's no doubt that you saw number 23 make a difference on this line of scrimmage, and that is James Smith. You know, with the other players that are down and out, hurt along the defensive front, who was going to step up? And James Smith took it upon himself to step up. He had 4 tackles, some of them for loss, but he had many more hurries, many more times he affected the plays, and he monopolized 2 blockers on multiple occasions. So I believe that James Smith has got the ability, he's got the athletic ability, and now the confidence, I believe, to really help us going down the road when we get Tim Keenan back. I think Tim Keenan, James Smith, and LT Overton along that front line will be a really big line for the opposing team to comply with. So I think James Smith had to be the defensive player of the game in this game. He just jumps off the page, jumps off the TV screen at you on his enthusiasm and the way he went about playing this game. So my players of the game on offense, Kevin Riley, running back, and on defense, defensive lineman, James Smith. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the third and final segment today on the DC Capstone Report. Unique perspective on Alabama football coming at you each and every week. I want to thank Lance Shores for doing all the things he does in the studio to make this possible. And I want to thank his sponsors, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com. Check out those websites for some great Alabama content. And don't forget our other sponsor, Karen Cottingham Realtor, right here at the Williams Group at Keller Williams. For all your real estate needs, Karen Cottingham, 205-887-4008. Well, here in the third and final segment, we're going to preview the upcoming game against the Wisconsin Badgers. Well, Alabama is back to play in a Power 4 opponent. And we opened the season against Florida State on the road, laid an egg, didn't play well. Came in last week against the lesser opponent, did a really good job making it 73-0. So how does that translate this week against another Power 4 opponent, much like Florida State, coming into Bryant-Denny with a chance to wreck our season at home? And they're 2-0. They are a formidable opponent. They play in the Big Ten. They have big players. They have good players. They have athletic players. How will Alabama stack up against them? Well, I think Alabama has turned the page, has flushed that Florida State loss. They have a chance to come in here and make a statement against Wisconsin at home, and I believe that Alabama is going to be able to do just that. I believe that Wisconsin will come in ready to play. The question is going to be, it's an 11 o'clock kick. How will Alabama raise up to the task on an 11 o'clock kick? Because I think one thing that we're going to have to do in this, one key to victory, is that we start fast. Whether we get the ball first on offense or we go against them first, we get on defense. Whichever team we put on the field first, the defense or the offense, has to start fast. And what that means is you got to have some intensity, some passion to start this game at home at 11 o'clock on national television against a Power 4 opponent from the Big Ten. Alabama had the chance to make a big impression. We moved up some in the polls this past week. I think we moved up to 18. That should give us a little more confidence so we can move our way back into the playoff picture if we just keep winning. I think as far as ESPN's FPI index, we're up at top 5 in that. So we just got to keep winning, and the season will take care of itself. But the next team on the schedule is Wisconsin, and we got to see them for what's ahead of us, a Power 4 opponent with the ability to go in to Bryant-Denny Stadium on an early kickoff and start with some wonderful, great intensity. So the first key to the game is start fast. The second key to the game is play with intensity for this early kick. The third thing is when we have the ball on offense, we're going to have to run the ball to set up the play. Wisconsin plays a good, hard-nosed Big Ten football where they want to try to stop the run and then force us into a passing team. I think that in order to win this game and really win it handily, we're going to have to run the ball against the big defensive front of Wisconsin and set up some one-on-one matchups down the road in the passing ability. In other words, run the ball, play action passing, and set up them down the field for some big chunk plays, some explosive plays. And I think we can do that. Running back by committee, yes, but I believe this is a game for Kevin Riley and Richard Young to pound the ball inside and have an opportunity to soften up that line, our line on their line, and run the ball. So I believe we should run the ball effectively against Wisconsin, and I think that's going to open some passing lanes. Look for our running backs out of the backfield and our tight ends to get a lot of attention in this game. And I think that we're going to get some one-on-one matchups down the field with Jeremy Bernard, Locher Brooks, Isaiah Horton, some opportunities against the secondary that Wisconsin puts on the field. So our offense has an opportunity to do well, but we can't have any turnovers. Wisconsin's defense loves the ball hawk, catch us in opportunities to intercept the pass and also knock the ball out when they're running back. So we got to protect the ball, and we can't have any silly penalties in this game. This last game, even though we played well, we had some penalties where we shouldn't be jumping off sides or illegal procedure or delay of game or anything of that. So we got to make sure we stay in our heads and play within ourselves against this Wisconsin defense that's going to be gunning for us and trying to make us make some mistakes. So I really believe we can do that. I look for Ty Simpson to have a big game. I look for Kevin Riley to have a big game running the ball. So I really think that we're going to come out with that same intensity and same passion and play well in Bryant-Denny. But it is a 11 o'clock kick, and I think that was going to determine, are we going to be ready at 11 o'clock with the same intensity we were for the night game at home against Louisiana Monroe. If we bring that same intensity on offense and on defense, I think we have a great opportunity to really make a statement against a Power 4 opponent on national television. But what on defense? What is Wisconsin going to do? Wisconsin is going to, I believe, try to pass the ball against us. They're going to run the ball like a big stand tile running stack, and they're going to try to set us up for play action passing. They're going to try to get our safeties to come up and get in the box and stop the run. They're going to block well and really lull us into a false sense that they're going to run the ball, and then they're going to open up the passing game, I believe, over the middle and try to take advantage of our defensive backs one-on-one. So we're going to have a really good game of playing man-to-man or cover 2 defense in this game and put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. The number one thing is keeping them on the field in third down long conversions. Don't let them run the ball in order to make short third down conversions. We need to stop the run and keep them on the field on third down with long third down conversions so we can put pressure on the quarterback and let them make some mistakes. If we can put pressure on the quarterback, I believe this quarterback will throw some interceptions and we'll have some takeaways in this game. I look for us to have at least 2 takeaways, either 2 interceptions or interception and a fumble, because I believe if we come out and play with the same defensive intensity that we did against Louisiana Monroe, then we're going to have an opportunity to get those in this game. But we will be tested. I think our secondary will be tested. I believe the quarterback will be able to try to throw on us, and I believe they'll do that by softening us up with the run. But we have to be tough up front. And I think that starts with James Smith. I think that the freshman Simmons is going to see what he can do against this defensive line. And I think L.T. Overton is going to have to really do a good job of supporting stopping that run. When that run comes at us and those three players monopolize the line and get in connection with the line, then our defensive linebackers are going to have to make plays on the running game. And once we do that and stop the run, then it's going to put them in a position of passing the ball where I believe we're going to have the upper end on our outside rushers. And I look for Quay Resall and John St. Pierre to get to the quarterback in this game and disrupt the quarterback in being able to pass. So I look for Alabama to come out well. I think we come out in this game against a Power 4 opponent, Wisconsin, Big Ten foe, and we hit them hard early. And I believe Alabama wins this game big. And it's a statement that we need because we'll be having a week off after that and then going into the Georgia game on the road. So we need this game to be a big statement game to us to get our confidence level where it needs to be before we go on the road to play Georgia. So Alabama, I think, comes out, plays with intensity, does well on both sides of the ball, protects the ball, causes turnovers, and Alabama wins this game going away. I got Alabama winning with a big score, folks. Alabama 42, Wisconsin 14. Well, that's all this week for the DC Capstone Report. Thanks for all tuning in. I thank each and every one of our listeners. Lance and I do. Share it, like it, tell all your friends about it. Until next time, this is DC with the DC Capstone Report saying, Roll Tide.